that this was obviously a big victory for abortion rights advocates, also a big disappointment for supporters of the law. So we'd like to bring in right now Kristan Hawkins. You're the president of Students for Life of America. What is your reaction when you heard the decision today?
Well, it's certainly a huge loss for women. It's a loss for states who have, been upholding, protecting women's rights and women's rights to health care and safe health care, and then to be told by the Supreme Court that states don't have the right to protect women.
Supporters of this law argued that these restrictions were necessary, right, to protect women's health. Are you concerned now that without these restrictions, that women may be at risk?
Sure. I mean, this means every time a woman walks into an abortion facility in our nation, she's going to have to wonder, will I be coming out alive? Think about Kermit Gosnell and his Philadelphia House of Horrors. He operated an abortion facility that was legal for 40 years in the state of Pennsylvania. It was groups like Planned Parenthood who came into the state of Pennsylvania lobbying against common sense safety regulations and allowed him to keep his doors open. Doctors in Philadelphia weren't even referring their patients to him anymore because they were coming back with venereal diseases because of dirty equipment. They had asked the state health department to go in and investigate his clinic, but no one would because it was about abortion. It was about access to abortion. And so everyone said, well, access to abortion is more important than safety, and that's really criminal.
And what's your response to critics of the law who said that these restrictions were just intended to put them out of business?
Well, I would say if you're not willing to make your hallways wide enough for EMTs to get through in case something happens in an abortion procedure, you shouldn't be opening your doors. Look at what happened just a few miles away with Dr. Carhart. Jennifer Morabelli came here for a late-term abortion here in the state of Maryland. She bled to death in her hotel room. Dr. Carhart was on a plane going back to Nebraska to perform more late-term abortions. He didn't have admitting privileges in the hospital. So finally, when her family took her into the hospital, they had no idea why she was there. These are common sense laws. These are common sense regulations that actually a majority of Texans agree with, a majority of young people agree with.
You have been very vocal in this case. Did I hear you got here early this week? You've been camping overnight. Tell us a little bit about your efforts around this decision.
Sure. Well, the pro-life generation was here on Monday and Thursday waiting this decision. We actually spent the night last night. I was out here at midnight.
You camped out here?
Yes, our students camped out here. This is an important case. We were there in Austin when this law was passed. We were here in March when oral arguments were heard, and we wanted to be here today. And we wanted to show the media and show the nation that this is a pro-life generation. Majority of young people are pro-life. We just announced that we have 1,000 Students for Life groups across the country. Planned Parenthood boasts 287. Majority of Americans agree with our opinion on abortion. It's plain and simple.
So what comes next?
Well, what comes next is we don't stop. We're changing the culture on college campuses every single day. We're making abortion unthinkable. This is antiquated language you heard here today. The fact that you have to have an abortion as a woman in order to achieve your career, to finish your education. That's wrong. That's sexist. And that's what we're doing on college campuses, saying, you have another way. We can help you get through this. And that's why we're changing the culture. We're making abortion unthinkable and obsolete. Unfortunately, we just have to transform Washington, D.C. and wait a few more decades.
Thank you very much for joining us.